Hello, welcome to News Now on TV360. I am Fidelia Aguncha. We begin the news on a sad note. 26 Nigerian women have lost their lives while attempting to cross the Mediterranean Sea. The Nigerians are suspected to have been sexually abused and murdered at the sea. Italian prosecutors have now begun an investigation into the death of the women said to be mostly teenagers. The BBC reports their bodies were found in a Spanish warship at the sea, which is also carrying hundreds of other migrants, including other Nigerian survivors. 23 of the Nigerians were said to have been on a rubber boat with 64 other migrants prior to their deaths. 5 migrants are currently being questioned over the incident. 3 Britons who were kidnapped by suspected militants in Nigeria's southern state of Delta have been freed and are now back home in London. A statement from the UK Foreign Office announced the safe return of its 3 citizens while also confirming the death of the 4th. It thanked Nigerian authorities for the safe rescue of the 3 citizens while adding it will no longer comment until investigations are concluded. The 4 foreigners were kidnapped on October 13, 2017 in the Brutu area of Delta State. At the time of the kidnap, the Delta State Police spokesperson Andrew Anyamaka said the victims were rendering humanitarian aid in the state. Still under troubles in the Niger Delta region, the Nigerian government says it is ready to hold talks with Niger Delta militants as it seeks to restore calm in the region. The government was reacting to a fresh threat by a group, the Niger Delta Avengers, to resuming bombing of oil installations. The Avengers had on Friday withdrawn its ceasefire agreement, indicating a willingness to resume hostilities. In reaction, the Minister of Niger Delta Affairs, Osani Uguru, after a meeting with President Muhammadu Buhari, said the government is ready to engage with the militants. In a bid to boost the commitment of troops fighting Boko Haram insurgents, Nigeria's Chief of Army Staff Lieutenant General Tukur Buratai has pledged full payment of allowances owed to troops. The Army Chief made the pledge in a special message of assurance to troops of the Nigerian Army engaged in various operations both within and outside the country. He assured troops on the forefront of the anti-insurgency war their operational allowances owed them for the last 2 months will be paid this week. Buratai's assurance comes days after an anonymous soldier wrote an open letter to the president accusing top military officials of corruption. The Borno state government has pledged to resettle the state internally displaced persons before the end of the first quarter of 2018. The state has been the worst hit in the anti-insurgency war with over 100,000 killed, according to Governor Kasim Shettima. As the army continues to push the insurgents back, the state's Deputy Governor Usman Dokwa has assured strategies are in place to ensure the IDPs return to their communities before the first quarter of 2018. He said the new Northeast Development Commission will hasten the plans of the government. Taraba State is set to join neighbors Benue in banning open grazing by herdsmen. This was disclosed by the state governor Darius Ishaku. Ishaku, who was speaking after a meeting with President Muhammadu Buhari, said the state would begin implementation of the open grazing prohibition law in 2018. He added he was at the villa to seek the federal government's support in improving the state's security, including the return of military personnel who were moved out of the state for other operations. The economic community of West African states, ECOWAS, in conjunction with the United Nations Industrial Development Organization, UNIDO, have intensified efforts in ensuring quality infrastructure and common standard for products and services in the region. In this regard, the European Union organized a constitutive meeting of the regional accreditation system and ECOWAS community committees in Abuja, Nigeria's capital city. The forum provided an opportunity for partners to brainstorm and agree on next line of action to be taken for smooth implementation of quality programs ongoing in the region.
We also want to give our enterprises the culture of quality and also to give them the support so that they can comply with the external market standards. You know, we export a lot of products in the world, and sometimes these products are rejected because we don't comply with it. So we have now the facilities, the structures to help to support these enterprises to better access the world market.
The challenges so far is that when you are dealing with issues of policy, it takes time to materialize. And then again, you need to look at West Africa, 300 million people, 3 languages, multiple currencies, and then different kind of laws. What the program is also trying to do is to bring all of them into a common front where, irrespective of the languages, the laws will be the same, the standard will be the same, the accreditation, the measurement, and everything will be the same. So we are satisfied with the progress, and we will continue to partner with West Africa for West Africa to trade among themselves, because if you realize now, trading among West African countries is very low, below 12%. Meanwhile, trading within Europe is over 40%. So we want to see West Africa trade more among themselves and also be able to trade competitively across borders with Europe.
Having a uniform standard, having a uniform assessment, having a common system of carrying out this assessment makes it easier. At the moment it is accredited and it moves to other countries, it will be accepted because EU is part of what the process is going on now. So it makes it easier that they understand what we have been doing. And Nigeria, like we asked, will benefit more.
The Nigerian government says it cannot review details of how states spent the parish club refunds. The government said this in response to a suit filed by the Social Economic Rights and Accountability Project, SERAP. SERAP was asking the court to compel the government to publish details of spending of 388.304 billion naira London Parish Club loans refunds allegedly diverted and mismanaged by 35 states in the country. Nigeria President Muhammadu Buhari has ordered the suspension of Okoye Obunu-Obla, chairman of the Special Investigation Panel on the Recovery of Public Property. His suspension was announced in a statement released from the Office of the Attorney General of the Federation, Abubakar Malami. According to the statement, the president directed the suspension of Obunu-Obla after receiving complaints from the Office of the Vice President, Yemi Oshibajo. The Kaduna State government says it will not record the 21,780 teachers who were dismissed for failing competency tests. Chairman of the State Universal Basic Education Board, Nasir Umar, said the affected teachers who had served less than 5 years would have their appointment terminated without benefits, while those from 5 years and above would be retired from the service with their entitlements in line with the civil service rule. He assured only teachers who failed the test will be dismissed, adding that those who qualified will not be affected in the exercise.
Corruption not in my country.
Mr. John! Mr. John! What is it now?
What is it now?
Please turn down the volume of your music. It's too loud.
And how is that your business?
It is disturbing me. I can't sleep.
And the same way you are disturbing my right to good music and where I enjoy it. Eh? What's wrong with you? Is any other person complaining?
Maybe we thought that you have lost your mind. Are you having a party?
I'm just respecting you, sir. You remember I paid my husband too.
You will not understand why we are complaining because you do not care about other people except yourself. Look, the transformation we need in this country begins in this compound.
Yes, now.
From you, and I. This your selfishness is an offshoot of corruption. And corruption
Not in my country.
You know, go to your bank. Go.
Corruption not in my country.
Glad to have you back. Let's take a look at the world of business with Ngozi Okoye.
Thank you, Fidelia. Nigeria's forest reserve have appreciated by $1.12 billion in the last 1 month, boosted by the rally in oil prices and a relatively stable forex exchange market. Data from the central bank shows an increase in the reserves from $32.74 billion in October to $33.86 billion as at November 1. In the last 10 months, the reserves have grown from 31.03%, which is $8.01 billion, from $25.84 billion at the end of 2016. Analysts believe the forex reserves will continue to remain at comfortable levels with the improved outlook of the country and the increased inflow of foreign exchange through oil sales and foreign borrowings by the government. Nigeria's Finance Minister Kemi Adeosun has revealed that more than 800,000 companies in Nigeria, including government contractors, have never paid any taxes. In a statement, she also revealed that only 14 million Nigerians out of an economically active base of 70 billion paid taxes. She further explained that out of the 14 million, more than 95% were salary earners in the formal sector, but only 241 people paid personal income taxes, amounting to $65,500 in 2016. Adeosun said there is a systematic tax evasion at all levels, adding that the government is planning to step up efforts to increase tax collection. Oil prices hit their highest since July 2015 on Monday as Saudi Arabia's crown prince cemented his power over the weekend through an anti-corruption crackdown. Saudi Crown Prince Mohammed bin Salman tightened his grip with the arrest of royals, ministers and investors, including prominent billionaire Al-Walid bin Ta'al and the powerful head of the National Guard, Prince Mehdi bin Abdullah. Prince Mohammed's reforms include a plan to list parts of the state-owned oil company Saudi Aramco next year, and a higher oil price is seen as beneficial for its market capitalization. However, analysts for now do not see Saudi Arabia, the world's largest oil exporter, changing its policy of boosting crude prices. Meanwhile, Brent crude futures were trading 26 cents high at $62.33 a barrel, whilst U.S. crude rose 25 cents to $55.89 a barrel. The first trading day of the week has turned out negative for the Nigeria stock market after it narrowly slided into red, closing at 36,930.83 basis points, as against 36,939.59 of the last trading session, which represents 0.02% decline. At the close of trading, Guinness topped the advances table, gaining 2% to close at 102 naira. Guarantee Trust Bank, United Capital PLC and Etna PLC followed. The decliners table, on the other hand, was led by Total, which lost 11% to close at 225 naira. Some of the other decliners for the day include 7-Up Bottling Company, International Breweries and Flour Mill Nigeria PLC. The top traders for the day include Jaiz Bank, First Bank of Nigeria Holdings, Transnational Corporation of Nigeria, and African Alliance Insurance Company PLC. The number of deals for the day was 4,274, valued at 2.902 billion naira in 466.522 million shares. And that's it on Stock News. We'll return with more stories. Don't go away.
Corruption not in my country.
Give him his shoes somewhere here, his phone and everything.
Don't do like that again. No.
Thank you. So, bye-bye. Hey, Oga, where do you think you are going? Ho!
You never shake body.
Eh?
You never shake body.
Shake body, see?
Huh? You never shake body.
Eh?
Never shake body.
I don't get combo for my body.
You go take for here. Sit down there.
What's this man still doing here?
They say I do shake body. I shake body, I shake body. They say I do this. And I say I don't get color.
You are asking for money.
Sorry, ma'am.
Asking for money to bail a suspect is an act of corruption. Both of you will be punished. Corruption is not allowed within the force. Remember,
police is your friend. Giving and taking bribe is wrong.
corruption, not in my country.
stop corruption now.
Corruption not in my country.
Liberia's Supreme Court has ordered the country's Electoral Commission to resolve a fraud complaint lodged by an opposition party before a scheduled runoff vote for the presidency can be held. The Apex Court on Monday prohibited the National Elections Commission (NEC) from conducting the runoff election until the complaint filed by the petitioners is investigated. The court, however, did not order a new date for the vote, which was originally to be contested on Tuesday by former international footballer George Weah and incumbent Vice President Joseph Boakai. Zimbabwe's Vice President Emerson Mnangagwa has been sacked by President Robert Mugabe, announcing the dismissal. Information Minister Simon Kyamono said the Vice President had exhibited traits of disloyalty, disrespect and deceitfulness. His removal makes it more likely that Mugabe's wife Grace will follow in her husband's footsteps as leader of Zimbabwe. Grace had openly called for the dismissal of Mnangagwa on the grounds that he was dividing the party and harboring ambitions to succeed her husband. On to sport now. Giant winger Moses Simon has joined a growing number of absentees for Nigeria's Super Eagles. The 22-year-old has been diagnosed with a foot injury and is expected to miss November's World Cup qualifier against Algeria and friendly against Argentina. He picked up the injury in training on Friday and also missed his club's league match against Standard Liège. Simon now joins Ojoni Gallo and Victor Moses on the absentee list for the Super Eagles. Nigeria's The Tigers have emerged winners of the Men FIBA Africa 3x3 Championship in Lomé, Togo, after beating Ivory Coast 21-9 in the final. Mali won the women's category after beating Nigeria's women's team 12-11. Nigeria's men won 5 matches to become the African champions, while the Ivorians and Madagascar finished second and third in the competition. Former Italian and Juventus midfielder Andrea Pirlo has announced his official retirement from football. Pirlo called time on impressive career after playing his last match for MLS side New York City. He was part of the Italian side which won the World Cup in 2006 and came close to winning the European Championship in 2012. He spent most of his career in his home country, winning 6 league titles in 2 spells at AC Milan and Juventus. Well, that's all on News Now. Thanks for watching. I am Fidelia Aguncha.